Well, here we are at the Phoenix Convention Center. Very excited to be here. Got a little bit early because, got to get some establishing shots and whatever for the video, but I'm very excited. Maybe we'll meet some of you here. Very excited to do that. And we're gonna see if we get an amazing tool or if we're just gonna have to work with what we get. Hey everyone, so I just finished round one. It was an extremely exciting round. So I played against a red-white deck that was basically a draft deck. It was unbelievable. It had, the 2/1 flyer that makes your stuff come in tapped. He had, the charging Monstrosaur, anything that you think of when you think about that deck, he had it. It was an unbelievable deck. Now, I got super lucky. I got to play all of my, Atlan Archers, my Snapping Sailback and stuff, and then I got to play Prosperous Pirates. Great card, very defensive, but most importantly, that got me up to 7 mana. So then I got to play my Verdant Sun's Avatar, and then I got to play that into my 6/6 Trampler. So basically, I just gained an absurd amount of life, and it was just a matter of time until I won that game, but I was very lucky. His deck was super scary. So we played game 2. We both took a mulligan, and I took out one of my 6/6s for a 1 with the wind. That way maybe I could do a little bit of racing myself, and I just thought, I'm so top heavy, and this guy is so scary. So what ended up happening is actually kind of anticlimactic. He had a great deck, but basically he didn't play anything turn 2. I was like, whew. Then he didn't play anything turn 3. And I was like, man, that's hard to come back from, and he didn't come back from that. So we're up. We got game 1, game 2, and we're now 1-0 in the standings. So let's hope that all continues and things just move smoothly from here. Okay, so I just finished round 2, and I played against this guy. Okay, so I had 2 islands in my opening hand and a Siren Lookout on the draw. So I'm like, as long as I get any land, in the next few draw steps, then I get to Siren Lookout, get myself to some more land. Well, that never happened, and I ended up discarding to hand size 5 times in a row. So as you can imagine, I lost the shit out of that game. And then in the game 2, so now we're playing for realsies, okay? And I basically see that he's super aggressive, okay? It seemed like he wasn't going off on the first game either, but, more than I was. So he was very aggressive. He was playing Jungle Delvers and such. But I ended up playing Verdant Sun's Avatar and did the whole gain a million life thing, and then he lost that round. Now, it was weird to me because he was also playing Rummaging Goblin, even though he was so aggressive, and I was like, I don't know if he can take time out to do that. And he also had a lot of combat tricks, so I was like, okay, well, we're gonna sideboard in order to maybe interact with him a little bit since he's doing combat tricky stuff and he's playing some weird cards that, like Jungle Delver, where if you reset it, it's a huge downside. So I put in a Run Aground, switched out one of those 6/6s again, and got game 3 too. So we are up 2-0 total in matches right now. So I'm really excited, but I'm gonna try to not get too excited because, I don't want to get that positive tilt and then just play like a madman in round 3. So we're gonna go in there and we're gonna try to continue to rack up those wins. Okay, so I just came back from round 5, and I know that's a lot of rounds for me to not report back to you, but I just didn't have time after the other rounds. I had to just jump to my next opponent. So it was actually pretty interesting. Round 3 totally got blown out and destroyed. We both had some mana problems, but he was playing basically mono Naya Mythic Dinosaurs, and it was too much for me, man. So lost that one. Then I played against a viewer of the channel next, which was actually pretty awesome. We talked afterwards. Had a little bit of mana problems, had a little bit of, I don't know, it was weird, and I lost that one too. So, maybe I made a keep that was a little bit too sketchy. You know what I'm saying? So, lost that one. Then, for those who don't know, who haven't been to these events, if you lose a third match, you're out of contention to get into day 2, where you can still top 8 and stuff. So then the next round, I had to win it, so I went in, and I did. I 2-0'd. It wasn't particularly close. And basically from now on, I have to win every single round, and every person that I beat will be out of contention. So I actually am just, this is crazy. Yeah. Look at this.
Yo, MTG Degree.
I knew that this guy was going to be here on Twitter, but he just found me vlogging out in the middle of nowhere.
It's a nice spot. This is my
it's very empty.
Round spot, yeah.
So anyway, maybe we'll get some woo love in here. But
much love.
Yeah, that's the round report for now. Yeah. See you guys. Okay, so I just finished with round 6, and it was against Grixis Pirates. Now, this guy in all 3 games had mana problems. I think that his land was like, kind of like 3 mountain, 3 island, and 3 swamp. So that made it pretty tough on him. And he had basically all 3 colors at every point in his mana curve. So that's pretty hard to make work. So that kind of, I think that's the reason why I won, basically. He did have a charging Monstrosaur that was very contemplative. It was something that could kind of sense the elements around it. It still was a charging Monstrosaur, but it just felt really one with the wind, and that totally took me out game 2. So we did win round 6, so we're now 4-2. We're still in contention for the top 8, and I just wanted to point out that there was a rule change that had made it so that basically if you go 6-3, you still get to day 2, but you can't make top 8, which is kind of silly, which is why they have now announced that they're going back to 7-2 being for day 2. So I'm still aiming for 7-2, but 6-3 means that I get 2 free drafts tomorrow. So I'm actually still shooting for 6-3 in a way. Anyway, hopefully next round goes just as well. Hey there, I'm here with Troy after round 7. Anyway, Troy caught me as I was about to do this vlogging thing, so he gets to be in the vlog for a second. All right, back to me, because I am important. So, the last round was against white-red, and we played against somebody who had a lot of raptors. And when I mean raptors, I mean the 3 ones and the 2 ones. Now, I'm playing multiple Atzlo-Can archers or whatever, so it was a savage destruction, and I felt bad. And yeah, it was over quick. So we are now still live for top 8, and we are at, what, 5-2? So we're going strong, and we're going to keep on going. See you next round. Okay, well, we're in a very exciting time. I kind of can't contain myself. Normally I tell the story, and you don't know if I won or lost. But at the end of round 8, I am now 6-2, which means that I will day 2 guaranteed. If I win the next match, then I'm in contention for top 8 if I do really well tomorrow. But even if I lose this next match, then I'll still come here, I'll be able to play really high-level drafting, and it's going to be a blast. So this was a really important match. I'm super happy to have won it, but this is kind of the time where people, sometimes throw up their hands in celebration and then get passed in the race. So I'm going to try to refocus and, get ready for my next match and try to win 7-2 and, represent the channel or whatever. But even if that doesn't happen, we're in a great spot here. So I'm really looking forward to my next match and, the last vlog of day 1. Okay, so we're at the end of day 1. So I played a really interesting match for my last match. It was a guy who was basically playing makeshift munitions plus hijack and just being very rude, one could say. Now, the interesting thing is I felt like this was really well positioned against me because I'm playing 6/6s and stuff. And so me paying a bunch of mana for a huge creature and then getting hit by it and then it being thrown at me is pretty good. Now, I haven't seen somebody ever play a deck like that in this particular format. It seems like a new idea, and I'm not sure if it's great. It did 7-2 today, so that's a really good sign. Or if it needs a lot to come together. and maybe it was just like the perfect setup for it or whatever. But I am very intrigued, so I'm gonna kind of look into this thing and, you know, see if it's great, you know? At least think about it a little bit. So it was actually a really fun match. There were some very savage top decks involved, and I did not make them, but that's totally fine. We're now at 6-3, so we're going to day 2. I'm not going to cover day 2 round by round, but I'll catch up with you. I'll tell you how day 2 went, whether or not we made some money back to pay for this trip, all that kind of jazz, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Hey there, so I'm here at the end of my first draft on day 1. It was actually very exciting. So to my left was Joel Larson, who is a Channel Fireball player, and also Brian DeMars, I believe his name is, was in our draft pod. So you can really see how once you get to day 2, you have a much higher chance of people playing in the Pro Tour. You know, you're with the big boys.
You're playing with the big boys now. Playing with the big boys now. Oh, that's pretty.
So I did my first draft, and I was doing black-white, and a big part of this draft format is basically figuring out where you're supposed to be very quickly and then staying in that lane. Otherwise you won't get playables because things are so tribal, synergistic, all that kind of jazz. Anyway, I'm not sure that I was in the right lane because I ended up with like a pretty okay-ish black-white deck. It had vampires, but it was not vampires. And so what ended up happening is I play round 1, and I'm playing against a guy who's playing some pirates, and I give him the good old 1-2 smack-a-lack, and we go to round 2, and it's against Joel Larson. So that was pretty exciting, first time playing against a actual pro player. And what ended up happening is I rolled a 3, and then I said, okay, show me that you're a pro player, and then he rolled a 12, so pro player status confirmed. Game 1 was actually pretty interesting. So he was blue, green, merfolkish good stuff. The whole table seemed to have been a train wreck, but all of his cards were great, but they weren't that super synergistic deck that you sometimes see. So the game basically ended when he did Tempest Caller, smack me for $1 million, then run aground his own Tempest Caller to put it back on top of his deck, and then Tempest Caller again, smack me for $1 million, I was dead. But we had a great time, you know. He played a hostage taker, so I had to take a look at it, and I asked him, you know, well, is that a May ability? Which was basically, you know, just getting a good laugh, had a great time. And, you know, it really shows that he's from Stockholm because, you know, he beat me so badly, but I still like him. So then round 3, I played against another pro player. I forget his name, and he's, you know, one of the guys who gets to the Pro Tour, but is not like famous or whatever. So, you know, you don't see a lot of coverage of him. So anyway, I played against him and lost again. So went 1-2 in my draft pod, but I had a great time. Drafted a Search for Azcanta with one of the draft marks from a GP day 2. Which basically is perfect souvenir material. So I'm really excited about that. Gonna go play another draft, and we'll see you later. Well, here we are back at my hotel, and I started the second draft, and then I decided to drop out because I was out of the money for the day. So I did the second draft, but then I decided that it would be better to go play the last sealed side event of the day. And it was interesting because when I went into that area where a lot of the people who weren't even in the main event, they were, you know, just casually drafting and playing sealed the whole time. There, people, like everyone around me recognized me, so it seems like I have a casual appeal or something to me. Anyway, so I got this sealed pool, and it had 3 cards in it, and I just couldn't say no, even though it was complete nonsense. It had Axis of Mortality, Argyl's Bloodfast, and Adanto's Vanguard. So obviously, I had to get up to shenanigans, and I accidentally killed one guy, so I got that win, and then I just refused to win unless I got the combo to go. And didn't get there, but I did get to have fun trying to get shenanigans to happen, and basically had a great time at Phoenix in general, and I'm about to run all the selfies that I took with everyone that I met there that wanted to take a selfie, and I will see you guys next video.